garden friends. Have you ever wondered about starting corn inside versus sowing it directly in the ground and how it would do? Well, this year that is exactly what I'm doing, and I'm going to be walking you through my process from beginning to end. Are you ready? All right, let's go. Hi, I'm Landon Gilfillan with Pepper and Pine Garden Design, and I'm excited to make this video because this is a new thing that I'm trying this year, and I want you guys to come along with me in the journey. This year, I have moved to starting a lot more of my seeds inside versus directly sowing them in the ground. And a lot of my videos on my channel have me talking about this process and why I've chosen to do so. This year, I'm deciding to start all my corn inside anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks before my last frost date. And if you want to know why, you can watch those videos, but I'll briefly tell you, it's because I have found that I have a much better germination rate, way more healthy plants, and I can control the propagation environment, that if a seed doesn't germinate, I can quickly pop one in, or I can control the heat that these seeds are germinating at, which they generally prefer temperatures of 60 degrees Fahrenheit to 65 degrees Fahrenheit, which if I were to directly sow those in the soil, I would have to wait well into the end of May, sometimes the beginning of June, to make sure our soil here in Southwest Michigan is warm enough for those seeds to really germinate well. Or I could plant them in the ground after our last frost date. And I've had pretty good germination by planting them in the ground, but I have lost a few plants along the way. And I feel like from what I've seen inside, that process is way slower. I actually just planted some seeds in my house, some corn seeds. These are popcorn seeds. I planted some sweet corn seeds earlier this week, I think on Monday, and today is Wednesday, and those seeds have already germinated, which is crazy fast. So with that in mind, I am giving these plants a really nice head start and the proper temperatures to germinate here inside my house. So I'm gonna walk you through this process with my popcorn seeds that I bought this year from Gurney's Seeds. This particular popcorn variety is called Mauveless Hybrid. So it is a reddish pink seed, and it's supposed to be a really nice, fun popcorn. Another thing that I've talked about a lot this year in my videos is that I'm moving away from using a seed starting medium to sow my seeds inside. I have found that for the most part, I have a lot more success with a really good quality potting soil or compost, or combination of both. If I have enough of my own homemade compost or a compost I trust that I bought at the store, that is what I am finding to have the most success with sowing my seeds. So that is what I'm using right now. I'll show you what I'm using that I have really liked, but there are some other brands that I have used this year that have been really successful as well. This is one I just happened to pick up at the store called Organic Choice. It has yucca and cocoa coir in it, along with compost. So it has a really nice texture. It's not too fine where the seeds are gonna get lost in there and the soil will compact. And it's definitely not too coarse because those baby seedlings and their roots need a really good structure. I'm also looking for soil that quickly drains, not too quickly, but when I water the top of them, which I'll show you in this video, I want to see the water drain fairly quickly to the bottom and not be held on top like a lot of seed starting mediums do. And this way, I don't have to moisten my soil before I put the seeds in. Because in the past, I have had to take my seed starting mix, put it in a bowl or a wheelbarrow, pour in water, and really saturate that soil medium before I can put the seeds in. Because what will happen is, if you're not careful, if you don't moisten that seed starting medium before you put the seed in, when you do put water on it, all the water will bubble up on top, and the air bubbles in your soil will cause the seed to either move further down or be disrupted from wherever you've placed it. What I have found with compost and a really good potting soil is I don't have to pre-moisten the soil. I can place my seed right where I want it and then water on top, and it holds and quickly drains. And you'll see that here in a minute. So that is why I have chosen to start my seeds with compost or a really good quality potting soil. So I've already filled my seed trays, and I'll show you that here in a moment. When I do that, I want to make sure I'm pushing gently down on the soil to make sure that the cell is not loose, but also not really compact. I'll add some more soil, press down with my 2 fingers until I have a nice, not too tight, compact cell of soil, in this case, potting soil. and I leave a little bit of room on top to place my seed right there on the cell, and then I'll go back over with my soil medium, cover the seed, and gently press down again before I water. Now, the great thing about using a soil medium like this is I don't have to pre-mason the soil like I mentioned. Now watch how the water just drains right through this tray. What I'll do is I'll water it and then I'll wait a second, let it drain. Then I'll go back over it and water it and let it drain. And then I'll go back over it. I really want to make sure the soil is nice and moist for those seeds to germinate in. And if I can, I'll give them a lid to keep the moisture in. Now, if you noticed, I did put a couple extra seeds in a few cells, and that's just to make sure that if for some reason one seed doesn't germinate, I'll have some extras in the tray that I can just prick out once they have their first set of leaves and move to the empty cell. And that's another great thing about starting all your seeds in your house is you can keep better watch over them as they germinate. And before they get too big, you can just prick them out by gently pulling up on their leaves and then poke a hole and move them to a spot where there is no germinated seed. And that makes it a lot easier, and you definitely have much better germination rate when you practice it that way. Just wanted to show you this tray of popcorn that I started 4 days ago and how quickly it's germinated starting on this heat mat. Because they've already started to pop up, I am actually moving them up a shelf that doesn't have a heat mat on it because I need to put my newly planted seeds here. While I'm not seeing all the seedlings yet, all hope is not lost because every day I'm seeing another couple pop up. So that just means that they're within their time frame of germinating. So if for some reason these here don't germinate, I can quickly pop another seed in and we'll make sure that this whole tray is full before I have to move them outside. But so far I'm seeing lots of little seedlings. And again, these guys popped up in 3 to 4 days after I had sown them. Once they've germinated and you're seeing the green, you can take them off the heat mat if you need that space for something else and put them somewhere else because they won't need that heat to keep growing. Now, obviously corn is cold sensitive and wants temperatures above 50 degrees Fahrenheit. So just make sure wherever you move them to after you take them off the heat mat is above 50 degrees Fahrenheit, which most homes are, unless you have your seed starting shelves in the basement or somewhere cool like that. In my house, the temperature is usually 60 to 65 degrees Fahrenheit, and these grow lights obviously provide extra warmth. But I need that seed mat for the seeds that I've just sown, so that is why I have moved it up to another shelf. Now that these seeds have drained, I'm going to move them inside to their new home on the seed mat, heat mat, until they germinate. Here's where they'll reside until they germinate, and maybe even afterwards if the space isn't needed for another plant. And I don't have a lid that is big enough to cover this, and that's okay. I could cover it with saran wrap, but really I've watered these really well, and because they're germinating so quickly, I'm not too worried about the moisture evaporating. But you could put something like this on if you have it available and it fits your tray. So these plants I just sown today as well, and they'll have a nice lid to make sure that the moisture stays inside. So I hope you'll stick with me on this journey of sowing corn inside and then transplanting it outside once we are well past our last frost date. I really think this is gonna give me a lot of success with my corn this year, a really good germination rate, and I'll have full control of where those plants go and how they grow out in the garden. So I will keep you updated, and at the end of the season, I plan on putting all these videos together for a how to grow corn, starting them inside. As always, I'm Landon Gilfillan with Pepper and Pine Garden Design, growing gardeners and their gardens. If you've appreciated this video, I would love if you would subscribe to my channel and share it with someone who you think it might be useful to. And as always, I'll see you in the next video.